You're teed up for Golf News RI TV on CW Providence with your host Joe Calabro and his guests. We're talking everything golf around the region and on the tours. Now, here's your host, Joe Calabro.
Welcome to Golf News RI TV, episode 20. I'm Golf News RI co-founder and CEO Joe Calabro, and unbelievably enough, this is our final episode, the season finale. Amazing. 20 episodes. We've made it. For the most part, we've had amazing weather, which my photographer Jesse and I were joking about the other day. Other than that one day at Cranston Country Club, we did pretty good. Today it's 60-something degrees out and cold. That's why we're ending the season. We're taping this today at New England Country Club, just outside of Woonsocket, formerly Winoosuket Country Club. Then it was Woonsocket Country Club. Now it's New England Country Club. And we feel like this encapsulates what Golf News RI is about, covering golf in Rhode Island and in New England. So thanks to the folks at New England Country Club for having us today. It's actually my first time here. I've written about it. We've done stories about it with the Woonsocket Dynasty a couple years ago, but this is my actually first time here. So thanks to New England Country Club for having us and allowing us to tape this while they have an outing going on. There's no one behind us at the moment, but there is an outing going on, I promise you. There are people playing today, I promise there is. So anyway, this show is a year in review show. I did my best to figure out what should go in, what shouldn't go in. It wasn't as easy as I was hoping it was going to be. So we actually did a lot. It was amazing going through all these clips and seeing all the different things we did, things we covered, people we talked to, whatever it may be. So this first segment, we're going to do kind of the big news items, if you will, of the year. And there was a handful. We picked out, obviously, two. The first, we're going to toss to the clip right here, but the U.S. Senior Open came here this year. It was at Newport Country Club. Golf News RI was there all week. It was really cool thing to have a USGA event, a big major event like that here in Rhode Island. And earlier this year, I reflected on that experience with Rhode Island legend Paul Quigley. Now, earlier this year, we had the Senior Open at Newport. You're wearing the hat, Team Quigley. Where can I get one of those? But
I got a guy.
it even has I didn't even notice the BQ thing instead of the Newport. Oh, very cool. Yep. Yeah, I'll send one in the mail. Anyway, but I always tell people ask me how it was, and I always say that the coolest day for me was Monday afternoon because there was nobody there. There were no fans there, and I got to walk the back nine with Brett and Billy playing together. You were there as well, and there was no big entourage. They had their caddies, obviously, but it was really cool for me just to be able to kind of watch them up close, a little bit inside the ropes, but I tried not to be in the way. And that was just a really cool experience for me. I learned a lot just about the course because I didn't know much, about it. But I learned a lot about the course, so that their games, what they were working on. What was that? What's been cool for you to be, a Rhode Islander, to see, obviously Brett, your son, Billy Andrade, another Rhode Island legend, kind of playing together still all these years later, and at the Senior Open, U.S. Senior Open at Newport Country Club.
I mean, I played numerous rounds with Billy at Rhode Island Country Club and Brad Faxon and Brett. Crazy thing, I caddied for Brad Faxon Sr. at Rhode Island. He's since passed away at Rhode Island Country Club. He was only about 6 years older than I am. But I caddied for Brad. Brad caddied for me, all right? And Brett caddied for Brad as everyone, advanced in ages. Yeah. So, I've kind of grown up with those guys, and I've watched a lot of golf over the years, obviously with Dana and Brett, but to see it, locally in a Senior Open was fantastic. I was lucky enough to qualify for the U.S. Am when it was at Newport. I think that was '95.
Right, Tiger won it.
Yeah, Tiger won it, and so all the local connections in a small little state like Rhode Island. It makes you proud.
Welcome back. That was Paul Quigley talking about his experience at the U.S. Senior Open in Newport. Actually, both of us talking about our experiences. A really cool event. Again, being able to walk the back nine with Billy Andrade and Brett Quigley and with Paul on that Monday afternoon was really special. It was really cool. It was just me and them. And I learned a lot just from that 2 hours or so that we played the back nine in. So Obviously, there's been a lot going on. The U.S. Senior Open was one of those things. And around that same time, MetLinks opened at the former Metacomet property. Obviously, the Metacomet saga is continuing to go on in some ways. We just reported on the lawsuit being settled in Superior Court. But one of the big stories of the year was MetLinks finally opening. GolfNewsRI reported exclusively on the future plans of the Metacomet property back in 2023. So it was nice to see it able to open this year. I played it once or twice. It's definitely a cool place to check it out. But we caught up with Rob McNeil just before the place opened to talk about it. What's the process of putting together the plan to kind of build this out?
Yeah. First, we wanted to look at what was here. I mean, the golf course had been closed for a while, and then it was maintained for a little bit of time as what was left. And now, how can we find 9 holes out of what was left on the property? So, and what can we do to respect Ross's design from 1924, and bring that back up to today's game? So we spent a lot of time finding a 9-hole routing on this golf course that made sense, that fit the flow of the property, and maintained as much of the old golf course as we possibly could. And I just took you around here. That's what's left. I mean, that's what we found out here. 9 really challenging, good, strong golf holes, 7 of which are original to the golf course. We've recreated about 2.5 golf holes out there to get to the 9. And we think we came up with something pretty special. The construction process was great. We worked with Paul Jamrog here, the superintendent, who had been here.
He was the
original superintendent prior to the closing, and prior to the even prior to that. And then NMP Golf Construction was our contractor out here that did an incredible job in finding the details that we were looking for. We used everything on this property. So all the grass you see out here, the greens construction was all repurposed from the old golf holes. So we reused the profiles of the old greens to build the new greens. We used the old sod from the old greens to build the new greens. Much of the grass on the golf course we just repurposed onto this new course. So it worked out wonderfully.
All right, so again, check out MetLinks at the former Metacomet property. I know a bunch of people that have played there, even former Metacomet diehards, and they said they actually enjoyed it. They didn't want to leave the first 3 or 4 holes because those are the original holes, but they said they enjoyed it and the place is in good shape, and it's something interesting to see or to watch them go forward with MetLinks and, of course, the rest of the property, but that's a whole nother story for another day. We'll cover that in season 2 of GolfNewsRI TV, perhaps. Check that out for sure. Right now, we're going to hit a commercial break. When we come back, we got interactive on GolfNewsRI TV. Got a little more comfortable. I even played some golf. I didn't embarrass myself too badly, but we got interactive. We tried to learn some things, tried to teach you some things, and that's what we're going to hit on when we come back. This is the season finale of GolfNewsRI TV Season 1 here at New England Country Club. I'm Joe Calabro. Stay tuned.
Now back to GolfNewsRI TV with your host, Joe Calabro, and today's guest. Special thanks to our sponsors, Providence Performing Arts Center and 4 Evergreen Turf Management.
Welcome back to GolfNewsRI TV. I'm Joe Calabro. Thanks to everybody for tuning in all season long. We're taping the season finale here at New England Country Club. Now, one of the cool stories about this year is the opening of South Shore Village Golf Club. They just became public relatively recently, and just a few weeks ago, we played it. Well, I'm just hoping to get the ball off the ground. So okay. Let's go play. Anthony, one of the cool things about this course is there's multiple tees on every hole.
Right.
This we're on 6, there's a tee over there.
Yeah, so I don't know of any other course anywhere that has a par 3 tee on every hole. It's a course that's playable by a variety of different skill levels. So now we're, on the right side in the right rough. This is on the par 5, and this is again, it's a great golf hole because now I have a decision to make. I can move the ball a little bit left to right. Do I want to try to take it around the corner and hit something longer? I just want to play conservative and hit it into the middle of the fairway and leave myself a little longer shot in. So this puts me in a situation where I have to make a decision, and because we haven't swung too much, I'm just going to hit an iron out into the middle of the fairway over here and lay up, which should give me a decent iron into the green. This is what I wanted to do, middle of the fairway. Try to make my par.
So we estimate that we're about 192 to 200. I have my trusty 4-iron. And I'm gonna try to either get to the green in 2 or land just short. Anthony, we have about 100 here.
100 yards in, back flag. Don't want to be long. Little help with the wind.
Little wind. So I'm taking an 8 wedge. I'm gonna attempt to fly it over that bunker.
Yep.
Put it on the green.
Yep, you're on.
On the green. Long way from the hole.
Yeah, so we're talking about the hole opens up from the left-hand side, so I actually have a clearer view, but it brings trouble on the left-hand side into play. So it's definitely a decision to make whether you want to be in the middle of the fairway and have to hit over that bunker or come on the left side and take a look and see what you got here. Take it.
These greens here are humongous. We have some testers. There's
Yeah.
a huge ridge.
Yep.
This is going to be some quite exciting stuff for the viewers.
Well, the average green is somewhere around 4,500 square feet, and the greens here average about 6,700 square feet. So you're going to see the biggest greens around here, and you're going to see movement like you see here with this ridge up and then back down that you just don't see anymore. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's reminiscent of, you know, golden age architecture, like with Seth Rayner and with Walter Travis and people like that. A lot of movement, very fair, very flat, puttable areas, but you're going to have to go up and down over some ridges to get to those spots.
All right, let's see if we can do it.
Let's do it. There you go, settle, nice roll. The same thing, man, I'm uphill here. I got a, looks like it's gonna stay straight going up the hill, maybe go a little left, get to the top and then go back to the right.
I'm thinking I got to try to make this putt. This is a par putt.
It's a good strategy.
It'd be nice to make a par on TV.
Complete misread. It's happening for my bogey.
Thanks again to South Shore Village for having us. Now this season, we also tried to teach you a few things. I tried to teach myself a few things as well. And that all started with Charlie Blanchard on the chipping green at Wanamaoisa Country Club.
Fundamentals on how to chip. You know, most people, if we had a bunch of people around the range, I could almost guarantee you they're all flipping through this golf ball, right? Now all of a sudden you know, the hands are behind it, they flip the leading edge into it and they skull it or blade it or chunk it. You know, so kind of the easiest thing to do initially is, you know, we're going to play this with our hands forward, right? Our weight forward, and we're going to catch this with a descending blow without trying to fool around with the bounce on the club. Now this is a 60-degree wedge, but you know, this would probably be a little easier with maybe a 52, where I'm trying to land it on the green and get it rolling as soon as possible. You know, I'm not going to try to fly it all the way to that hole. So, you know, what I do and kind of the easiest, simplest form for most players would be, I'm going to play this ball a little bit back in my stance. I'm going to have my weight forward on my front foot. Okay, and right here I got shaft lean, right? But that shows the leading edge. So what we want to do is we want to keep our chest moving, and almost as if my arms don't do anything, right? I'm just rotating my chest. So the simplest form would be weight on your front foot, my nose in front of this ball, and the ball back of center, and then all I'm going to do is take this back and rotate my chest. Right? So for this little 12, 15 yarder, my hands are forward, right? My nose is in front. Right, and hit a little chip shot.
Thanks to Charlie Blanchard for having us. Now, the next thing we try to teach you is club fitting in a true golf nerd, golf geek segment. We went to Spargo Golf over at Buttonhole, and my buddy John Pannone took us through a club fitting, and here's that. To get the club fitting kind of started, if you will, what kind of things are you looking for? What are we going to do here?
First off is get your goals. Figure out what you're trying to accomplish. So it gives me an idea of what to look for when watching your ball flight. What we did here is lie angle is going to be kind of that first aspect. Length and lie angle are going to be the first things we're looking at. What I'm going to do is get the flight scope going and then just get a session with your iron. See what your distances are. See what your spin rates are. Kind of ask the player, hey, is that a good session? Is it a good representation for you? So we're just setting up the ball. Got a dry erase marker on it and straight up and down. So we're going to just get an idea of where on the club face you're hitting. So what we're going to look for is length. Is this club too short? Is this club too flat? And try to get, ideally, the center line hit. Sometimes when we see this toe hit and it's straight, well, sometimes that means the club's drooping too much. So as that club comes into the ball, head's drooping the shaft, we're trying to figure out where that shaft needs to be controlled. And that's why there's hundreds of different shaft profiles. We're looking to see if a player pulls down or pushes out. Where in the downswing does the wrist unhinge? So everybody kind of cocks the wrist, and as they come down, it's going to unload at some point. So then what we're trying to match in that is a kick point in the shaft to match this release pattern. And see how close the consistency is. Because what we want in the shaft is the shaft to be kicking in the same point consistently so that you can just make your natural swing and know that the head's going to be where you think it's going to be. So we can see off of 2 shots, pretty darn consistent, a little bit more inside, but we've got a player who hits it relatively low. So we're going to try to figure out, can we get a shaft profile that gets the ball launching a little bit higher with proper spin so that the ball can stop on the green. So once we figured out a shaft profile for you, then you get to pick your head. What style of head do you want to play in? Do you want to play game improvement, players clubs, whatever it may be, so that we have all of the zones of the bag covered.
Thanks so much to Spargo Golf for having us. Thanks to Charlie Blanchard, and thanks to South Shore for having us as well. Now we're going to commercial. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show. The final segment of GolfNewsRI TV Season 1 is coming up next.
Now back to GolfNewsRI TV with your host, Joe Calabro, and today's guest. Special thanks to our sponsors, Imagine Gift Store and Schoolhouse Apartments.
Welcome back to GolfNewsRI TV, the final segment of Season 1. Unbelievable. One thing, we got to talk to a lot of people. I get to talk to a lot of people throughout the season. I always ask them what, if it's appropriate, what is the state of golf in Rhode Island? And I took the opportunity to ask both Ed Kirby and Paul Quigley that this year, and their answers are very interesting.
Well, it's unique now because there's so many opportunities for kids to play. Right. Back when we did it, I went to Asia for 3 years. I went to Africa for 2 years, and I did that because I had no other place to play. Today, between the Corn Ferry, the Canadian Tour, the Latin American Tour, there's so much structure for the tours for kids to play and the opportunities for them. And the money is much bigger, obviously. So there's that carrot that people are looking at and saying, you know what, if I'm good enough, maybe I should take a shot. I will tell you, it's a lonely life. It's very difficult. It's not what people think of. You're flying in a private jet and staying in 5-star hotels. Very few get that. So you've got to have a good structure in your support group. And if you do, you could have an opportunity to make it. But you've got to have, today they have trainers and nutritionists and swing coaches and sports psychologists. It goes on and on. We didn't have that back when we were doing it. We were way more with our friends, trying to make it, rooting for them. They're rooting for you, bunking up. So it's pretty neat to see what opportunities they have today. And I'm happy for it because there's no greater game in the world. Golf is the greatest game. And ask any athlete, any other sport athlete or movie star or wealthy person will tell you, this is the greatest game of all.
Absolutely. Now, you're also the head coach at Roger Williams. You got the team to the NCAA tournament this year. Just talk about that in the time we have left, what that meant for you, what that meant to the team.
Having a team qualify for the NCAA championship was something I had set my goal on when I got hired as a golf coach 7 years ago. And the group of kids that I have are outstanding, and I am so excited for them. It's thrilling, totally thrilling.
It seems like it's getting harder and harder to get good golf courses for the competitions. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the answer. They haven't asked my opinion. So
maybe they should.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but the fact, that I see that as a problem. Before COVID, golf was in a tough place. Mm-hmm. This place was hurting, Pawtucket was hurting,
Valley
was still hurting, and the RIGA had those courses they could always fall back on that were good courses in good condition for tournaments. Well, then COVID hit and everybody decided to play golf and they could work at home. And all of a sudden, these courses don't need you anymore. They don't need the money. They get outings on Monday and Tuesdays. You know, they're generating huge amounts of cash. They can charge almost what they want, and corporations and people are paying it. So I think the pendulum's got to swing, and I'm hoping that we can adapt to it. And it used to be an honor for a club to hold the Rhode Island Open. Rhode Island had it, Wannamoisett had it, Ledgemont had it. I mean, it was a true honor, and now it seems like an afterthought.
Really interesting stuff from Ed Kirby and Paul Quigley. Ed Kirby was our first episode. It was really a huge get for us at the time. Always will be, of course, over at the Equipment Club. And obviously, Paul Quigley is a legend. So great to hear from those guys. And it's been great to be on TV for you guys, all of our followers. Thank you so much for following our journey. Thank you so much to the sponsors who have made this possible. And we're looking forward to season 2. But until then, we'll see you down the fairway.
You've been watching GolfRI TV on CW Providence.